In September, I caught a ride on a UN plane to northeastern Kenya near the Somalia border.
Thank you.
I came here to visit the largest refugee camp in the world, Dadaab. About 430,000 Somali refugees live here, making it the third largest city in Kenya, and it has doubled in size in the last year. These refugees are fleeing drought, famine, and war. Tens of thousands have already died. The United Nations warns that the famine in Somalia could kill 750,000 more in the coming months. This is the biggest humanitarian catastrophe in the world today. In the camp, I noticed lines for food rations, and it was heartening to see people finally reach safety and help. But often, the assistance arrives too late. In a German aid hospital here in Dadaab, Dr. Daniel Muchiri showed 4 wards full of children suffering from severe malnutrition.
3 months. She's been here 3 months?
3 months in the camp.
Oh.
Malyun Mohammed, 2 years old and weighing just 14 pounds, was lying listlessly on her bed.
You came from Somalia 3 months ago, is that right? Did you have to walk?
Listening to these Somalis left my heart aching. What is clear is that the challenge is not just drought, although it's the worst drought in 60 years. The refugees here are also victims of the Shabaab militia in Somalia. Shabaab often blocks assistance. It also tries to keep its starving population from fleeing to refugee camps like this one. Consider one man I met who had just trekked across the desert and arrived at Dadaab, Belay Mohammed, a 45-year-old farmer.
Do you have any food in your home in Somalia? Is there any grain, anything to eat?
2 of his children had starved to death in the previous 3 weeks, he told me. A 14-year-old boy, Abdulaziz, died first, and then an 8-year-old girl, Fatuma.
I see.
Mr. Belay's wife and 6 remaining children were near death, so we set out on foot with 50 others to walk to Kenya. He told me it was a horrific 10-day journey. 8 armed bandits attacked the group shortly after it crossed the Kenya border. The bandits tortured the men with fire to find out where they had hidden money. Mr. Belay showed me the burns on his face and arms. And then, he thinks, the bandits raped the women.
So what is your plan?
Now, despite that ordeal, Mr. Belay is sending word back to his family that his 3 strongest children, ages 4 through 12, should set out and try to walk to Dadaab.
And are your children strong enough to walk?
Even if that means they'll be attacked by bandits, even if that means they'll be tortured or raped along the way. The alternative is to stay behind and starve to death. During my visit to Dadaab, I also heard many stories of violence against women who were fleeing Somalia. That's the hidden catastrophe that, because of stigma, many people are reluctant to talk about. In one humble shack, I met a 35-year-old mother. She told me that bandits had attacked her group 3 times. The first 2 times, they took money and food, she said. The last time, I had nothing left to give them, so they raped me. Despite the grave risks in reaching this camp, thousands continue to stream in every month. And although the rapid expansion saves lives, it creates problems of its own.
One of the missed opportunities in dealing with the Somali refugee crisis is that kids aren't getting an adequate education. Only 38% of the children here in Dadaab are even enrolled in school. And enrollment means attending a school like this, a primary school with 4,000 kids. A class like the one behind me with 130 pupils in it, 20 students sharing a book. These students aren't really learning very much. And while there are no quick fixes to the Somali crisis, no easy solutions, it sure seems to me that unless we can educate more of these children, then we're going to be perpetuating the conflict and instability and poverty of Somalia for decades to come. Here in Dadaab, Kenya, for the New York Times, I'm Kristof.